We get the big news out the way first if possible, but obviously everyone's wondering the latest situation with Alan Wynne and where he is in terms of his injury.
Yeah, we still don't know. Generally, we're waiting on the results of the scan and find out more, hopefully tonight, but no, I don't know.
Is it genuine concern or
Yeah, there's got to be, I guess so, but yeah, we'll wait and see and hopefully get the best news possible.
Have you made, obviously, in terms of contingency, I'm assuming next week or the week after, Europe, is that, have you put that out of the equation or is it still you just looking at the moment?
Yeah, no, you do plan ahead around, we know we're probably pretty stretched to a certain point in that area, but hopefully players can come back and can fill that up as well. And you know, first and foremost, we're excited by the rest of the season, but we're pretty excited about Treviso this week as well. Getting back into Pro12 rugby is a real good a bit of as I said, some excitement around the group and the coaching staff.
Where are you in terms of your internationals? Obviously, a lot of boys have played a lot of rugby. A lot of boys haven't had much time in terms of the camp with Wales. How are you approaching those players this weekend?
Yeah, majority of those who've played a large share of game time with Wales, Biggs, Webby, Tips, they'll be off, alongside Alan Wynne. We're pretty comfortable with that. As I said, we've spoke for a long time about the depth we're trying to build up in the squad. The trust we've got, every competition we've played this year, we've backed different players to do, different jobs, and for the most part they've delivered. And we've got to go to Treviso with that same mindset that a group can do a job against a side that we've had struggles with in the past as well. So there's a little bit of a red flag there as well. But we're certainly looking forward to what we can put on the park on Saturday night.
Because these international windows historically for the Ospreys, they haven't been tricky, but this year you seem to have negotiated far better, in terms of having so many players missing. Boys that have stepped in and done a great job. Yeah,
and perhaps last year through necessity people accelerated through, but we've probably planned for it better around our summer's work. And then you're right, the last few years our non-international window we've picked up as good a point as anyone, but this season in particular has been pleasing. 2 out of 3 in the autumn, and good return around the Six Nations game. And the Munster game also is one that slipped away, but we played reasonably well and the performance levels have gone up in these periods.
In terms of, do you just approach week periods? Obviously that European game is looming large there against that. How do you approach the next few weeks in terms of that in particular?
Well, there is planning that goes on behind the scenes, but generally we've got a group of players who know, in terms of what we want to achieve, it comes down to the next performance, and there's only 5 league games left. This performance this week is imperative to be in the mix. You always hope after the Six Nations that you can be in and around the top 4, and obviously now we've done that, and even probably healthier than that, truth be told. But a couple of poor performances and we'll quickly slip back to 5th place regardless. So it's about this Treviso and around the sides we respect. We enjoy the battles we've had with them. There's good people there, and there's some damn good players who will cause us some real difficulties.
Is securing top 4 the target at the moment, or is it all like pushing for that top 2 place in terms of the home semi-final?
I guess looking at the fixtures, we're in charge of our own destiny in terms of what we can do really. And as I said, that starts this weekend. In the perfect world, we'd probably like to go all out 5 for 5 and you do get top 2. But as I said, that only starts with the tone we set this week, and how quickly we can get a bit of momentum back in our game. Our last performance as Ospreys is one to be pretty proud of, scratching out a win away from home in Edinburgh. But as I said, it was at a time where probably mentally, physically we were all needing a slight little break, but we've refreshed now, and I think the reset button's been pressed and we're ready for the big finish.
How are you injury wise? Any boys ruled out this weekend, or any boys coming back from injury?
Trying to think of the conundrums we've got there. From previous game in Edinburgh, as I said, Lloyd Ashley's one of those that can come back into the breach in the second row. But no, supplemented by people like Cracknell King, Nicky Smith, who've been involved in the Six Nations group anyway. We're mostly fit and ready to go. Probably stretched around a couple of positions, but people are just stepping in and training wise, upping the intensity and things. Some of the 20s boys are coming through and training with us, so there's a few different options, and the ongoing cycle just keeps continuing really, but alongside the fact it's elite rugby and high performance stakes at the moment.
Thank you. Just wondering on Jones, is there a bit on Bradley Davis as well? I know he's been for a long time. So.
Yeah, he's near in return, he's just working through the final part of his procedures there, you know, and I think mid-April might be a fair shout for us, and I think it's, as we said, you know, it could really add to our squad. Early season he was just starting to find his way around our patterns of play, our understanding of the game, you know, he's someone who is in and around the group a fair bit at the moment. You know, he sits on my attack group, so he's starting to understand, you know, what we're trying to put on the park, and yeah, I think he's someone who wants to give back, you know, to the Ospreys shirt and help us to achieve what we want to do.
And looking ahead a little bit further to the game against Stade Francais, there's been a lot about the merger. I know it's now been called off. Is that something that was sort of talked about, or that you noticed, and were you worried at all about what that was going to do to Stade Francais?
We did discuss it in terms of, you know, players being available this week to next and whether there was an implication, but it didn't affect any of our training plans in terms of what we were putting together last week in a skills and conditioning block into our prep for Treviso and onwards. So no, we're just excited about a home fixture, but obviously a different home fixture than going to the, you know, Principalities, one we're familiar with, and I hope, you know, we're certainly getting excited by that one, as I hope people are, you know, coming out to support us, and likewise Leinster-Ulster not long after in the Liberty. But as I said, there's lots to play for, but let's make it clear, first things first, Treviso this week.
You've also got a new member of the coaching staff, Alan Clark. What's he going to bring to the group?
Yeah, and then Alan's someone we're pretty familiar with. Obviously played against his team for a number of years. You meet different people in different coaching circles. You know, when we were, you know, looking for a replacement, I think someone who knows the league, knows European rugby, you know, was, you know, high on the list of you know, Steve and our thought processes. And I think having gone through that, it was about someone as well who's, you know, proficient around the set piece. Clearly, so there's the huge part of the job description, and I think a scrum and a line out that can continually develop and sort of build on the work that Gibbo's done. I'm working closely with, you know, someone like, you know, Tom Smith, Richard Fussell. Also from my end of things, we've got some real good development coaches doing a terrific job with our players, so I can see that pathway, you know, continuing in the future. And Alan, you know, can build hopefully some short-term success with us, but understands, you know, the long-term vision the Ospreys have and his role within that as well.
You're in a great position with the fly-ups you have at the moment. Obviously you've got Dan Bowman and Sam Davis, but is there any disappointment that Sam didn't get any more minutes across the Six Nations?
To a certain degree, I've obviously got, you know, vested interests in both, and I hugely admire, I enjoy working with both, and, you know, trying to improve both players. It's you know, something that we strive for, you know, each and every week. You know, some respects, yes, but I can understand, you know, where Dan's game was at, and, you know, I think in terms of what all those players put in, obviously, you know, predominantly a lot of the starting group there, they put in such physical efforts. You know, you cannot sometimes take away from that efforts by deselection, and I think that, you know, some of those boys just continued and had the right to go again. And I think there's other reasons why we didn't get the results we craved as a nation, but, you know, I think the selection of that is understandable. But as I said, we move on quickly, and I know both teams have moved on pretty quickly around, you know, Dan asking me questions around where our game's at this week, and Sam is certainly ready for Treviso as well.
Is there a hunch on what Alan Wynn's done? A tendon, broken shoulder, do you know?
No, I don't.
No hunch at all?
No, I'm sure the physios have got their due diligence to take care of there, but no, I haven't looked into it.
Anything on Scott Baldwin as well? I know he had blood injury at the end of the first match.
Yeah, pretty heavy you know, cut there in terms of that. You know, it's making his training work pretty difficult this week, so he's having a few days off, and that's, you know, probably with a mind to rest in this week.
Can I just go back to the Stade Francais thing? It's plainly been really unsettling for them in the last couple of weeks, and obviously things presumably will settle down. Are you almost disappointed that it's been resolved so quickly, because players going on strike unsettled? That would have been perfect for you, wouldn't it?
There's a part of you who thinks, yeah, free weekend isn't bad with the amount of load that our players have had internationally. As I said, around the Six Nations period, the other group here trained and played remarkably well. So you do think, yeah, that would have been a nice little take a breath. But within the thick of it now, we want the momentum. We're really excited by, you know, going to the Principality, the type of game we could play there, and, you know, this competition as well. You know, is about, you know, doing justice to it, and it is now knockout rugby for us. That's, you know, really important for young players to savour that next week. And Stade got some pretty big names who hopefully, you know, they'll be starting to switch into, they got Toulon this week, but then us next week is a nice few weeks for them as well.
You know, why, Griff, since you've had that European knockout game and league to focus on, how exciting is that, the fact that, you know, there's potential for silverware and two fronts there at the moment?
Yeah, that's been referenced. You know, I think I think it's probably a contrast to 12 months. We had players coming back from the international campaign last year. We were chasing for a different sort of European spot, really, just in the league alone, and we were trying different sort of things around the training field, ready for, you know, this season. But now players are coming back, you know, motivationally, understanding it is great for the squad to be competing on two fronts. You know, we've made no secret, we've really had a good crack around the league this year, balancing and the selections and starting the season well and keeping the momentum there. But it's been coupled alongside enjoying Challenge Cup rugby, and this gets to the meaty part of it now. So we're hopeful of 10 busy weeks of work, but you only get 10 if the next couple of weeks roll nicely for us.
Just looking at the under-20s, obviously Kieran Williams there at a big tournament. In terms of where do you see him in terms of his development and his place here?
I think we're pretty blessed. I've been quite mindful about resources being stretched over certain points the last few years. We've really tried to build up, alongside Andy Lloyd, Dan Griffiths, a pool of young development players who we feel can be part of our succession plan. And I think there's some centres here who will be pushing in time to actually play regular regional rugby and beyond. Even people like Beck, Ben John, they're for us senior figures, but they can keep pushing on as well. Joe Thomas recently signed a senior contract, and people like Kieran Williams has been great to have in the pathway. The British and Irish programme that he was in this year really showed how alive he is to certain opportunities. I really get excited by his attacking potential and how we're trying to develop his attacking game well, which we've seen with some of the 20s with some of their coaching work also. So that's been great to see. As with all of them, we tend to have some questions where they are around reacting to the senior professional group, and what they do off the ball and defensively as well. Around someone like Kieran would be a bit of work, but again, it's players like that, someone like Callum Carson as well, recent addition to the sort of B group coming through. Dylan Moss. There's a sort of stockpile of young centres and outside backs that I think bodes well for the future, that I'm keen to nurture and bring through, and not forgetting, I'm name checking, but someone like Owen Watkins is a big part of our plans going forward. He'll just, obviously the season has been missed, but the plans are afoot for his summer's work and beyond. Because no, but as I said, there's a big block of numbers there. Corey Allen coming in, I'm really pleased that there'll be a vibrancy hopefully around our selections, around centres who push each other every week, and that's what I've craved. I think we can get to that point.
Yeah, you're looking at what you could have next year, we're locking on this year. And that pool of centres is quite exciting, isn't it? What you've got there.
Yeah, and it's not just the 12, 13, it's how it all meshes together with your 10 and 15, and there's different combinations around the athletes on the field, and we've mentioned some good young athletes coming through, but also the good decision makers and the guys who can run, pass or kick. So we've got to try and build that together, in one system really. But that's exciting. I'm really looking forward to, as I said, where we are in this block of the season, but beyond as well is something to cherish.